So when you assume, as we know, is a very dangerous path to walk, because your assumptions actually define how you judge things. And unless you examine those assumptions, you can really be going down the path of assuming that you're right, others are wrong, which we know is a huge difficulty for everybody. There is no one who is exempt from this.
Example, talk to people about their mistakes and admit yours.
Again, there are many hidden questions in that short statement, which is probably the summary of an entire paragraph. Who are the people? People. Who are people? And that's really one of the fundamentals. Who am I speaking to? What is appropriate for me to say to these people once I define them? What is the relationship with them? What is the relative status? If you go to another concept in the laws of power, never tell the boss they're wrong. You see what I mean? So the key here is when you say people, who are the people? What is the context? And is it appropriate? And do you really know?
How do you give feedback to your boss if you're not allowed to say that he's wrong or she's wrong? They're wrong.
Again, it depends on your objective. I mean, we oversimplify things with these little slogans, because if you think about what's your objective, what is it that you want to accomplish? Why are you talking to this person? So that word people is a key concept in this statement. Who are the people? What's the situation? What's my objective? And then that goes back to your own judgment. And your judgment is tied to your fundamental beliefs and assumptions. I mean, we underestimate the complexity of what goes on in everyday life as if it's just ordinary. We interact with people, we interact with our children, we interact with friends, we interact with all kinds of people. But behind that are our set of assumptions as to what's right and wrong. So you can never take anything at face value. You always have to put it in a context. You always have to be critical and try to be aware of your own assumptions.
Even if you seem to have it all, know it all, I want to achieve this, I want to do this, I know how this person thinks and know how this person behaves. Okay, and there's no right and wrong. What happens? You may not get the results you want.
Of course, but if you say, I know how this person thinks, I know how this person behaves, that's an assumption, a huge one, based on your own personal distorting filters. Because that's not, if you say, I know how they behave, that's huge. What do you know?
Mrs. Faso, all decisions are made, personal, corporate, professional, non-professional, are based on assumptions.
Of course. And when people judge each other, if you want to bring it down to the most basic level, let me see, are you like me or not? And if you're like me and you behave like me and you act like me, you're very good. And if you're not like me and you're different and you make different decisions and your choices look very different, I may judge you very negatively. And no matter how objective I try to be, no matter how conscious I try to be of the fact that we're all biased, whether we want to admit it or not. Anybody who tells you they're not biased, that's the biggest bias of all. For you to make such a statement, you have to be pretty out of reality. We're all biased. But that's how we judge each other, and that's why people go out and kill each other. You know, you're wrong, I'm right. That concept of right and wrong and black and white is what has caused all the death and destruction and the wars. You know, I know better, you're primitive and you don't know what to do with your resources. I'm smarter and I can take them and use them in a better way than you. What a disaster to think like that. And right now we're looking at, you know, depletion of resources, we're looking at global warming, we're looking at all kinds of things that human activity has contributed to and that human greed has contributed to.